presentation by me, Rowdy Munir.
Me, Bennett Gilchrist.
And Christian Bax.
The threat of global warming has caused rising sea levels to become an ever-increasing threat to Florida communities located on the coast. Currently, no history of infrastructure or mitigation strategies to aid in rising sea levels has ever existed, even in the presence of a recent Harvard study in 2021 by Juan Silver that states the sea level in a warming world will be greater than anticipated. What is the problem, you might say? It is the fact that the cities of Florida are built directly on top of the porous limestone, which allows for salty seawater to intrude into communities and flood them many times a year. Many issues with clean aquifer supplies and social inequities have also been amplified due to this.
Offshore infrastructure is the first solution. Infrastructure is something shared commonly throughout the world to mitigate flooding, but especially in places like Europe and in the Netherlands. Not only is over 33% of the Netherlands below sea level, but this has been a constant problem throughout almost all of its history, meaning that they are very credible. The Dutch government has proposed that further seawalls, a new dike project, and investment into more flood mitigation technologies and systems is the best solution to mitigate rising sea levels. According to Dan Cortez, a content producer for B1M, the world's largest news channel on construction, rising sea levels and stronger storms mean that Dutch authorities are now investing $617 million to strengthen the structure so it can withstand a 1 in a 10,000 chance storm event. Another method of mitigation the Dutch are planning to use is through dikes. A dike is essentially a long wall or embankment built to prevent flooding from the sea. Their plan involves a potentially 32-kilometer long dike project. To truly compare its scale, this is over 350 football fields lined up vertically. Not only would this project cost many millions of dollars, but it is also a very big commitment to a problem that worsens every year. This commitment has inspired many in the United States, but especially in places like southern Florida, to change. As seen on the image on the left, the Dutch have a unique approach to mitigating water levels based on the environment around it. Heavy investment has allowed the Dutch to implement different types of dikes for the specific local area. As seen on the right image, this dike is exclusive to the area, which in turn prevents water from rising to cities like Amsterdam, who have a high population and very high economic impact.
Another side of our solution is land-based and green infrastructure. According to Mario Alejandro Ariza of the book Disposable City, essentially, it's, referring to Miami, is built on a sponge. As Rowdy said earlier, Miami is built on porous limestone, and that leads to what is known as vertical flooding, where essentially water comes up from the land below due to a raise in the waterbed. As we can see by this chart right here, the red indicates areas where the waterbed is 0 to 1 feet deep. Obviously, with rising sea levels, the water is going to flood into the areas very soon. With vertical flooding, cities are going up and water is intended to go out of the area with new infrastructure. First is drainage pipes. Susanna Nesbitt of the Miami-Dade Commission on Public Trust and Ethics states that in Miami Beach a few years back, new pump stations were also built up and down the island, and more are planned. When the king tide hit in early October, almost the entire city stayed dry. Another part to this is raising roads. The University of South Florida states that many experts have called road raising an integral part of the city's plan to protect itself. As we can see by this image right here, on the left is the original street during king tide at about 1.42 feet, as we can see right there, and the street is completely flooded. After the road raise, however, on the right, it is completely dry with king tide that is even slightly higher than the one before. The cost of this, however, is a bit expensive, and over a 10-year program would be about $5.1 billion. Another part to this is green solutions. Green infrastructure, defined by the U.S. Congress's Water Infrastructure Improvement Act, states that it is the range of measures that use plant or soil system, permeable pavement, or other permeable surfaces or substrates to store, infiltrate, or evapotranspire stormwater. Another thing that's often overlooked is the importance of coral reefs in these areas. The U.S. Geological Survey states that coral reefs in particular can substantially reduce coastal flooding and erosion by dissipating as much as 97% of ocean wave energy. This highlights the importance of these our natural resources and natural barriers to these flooding events that take place often. As we can see by this chart right here, all of the red areas are, so during this 100-year storm event, all the red areas are the areas that would be completely flooded without the presence of coral reefs, whereas the blue area is with coral reefs, all the areas that would be kept dry.
The solution deemed most favorable is the Dutch strategy of using a combination of seawalls near high-risk areas, employing a massive dike project, and further investment into flood mitigation strategies that their cities have used for centuries. This will help Florida adapt to its changing sea level issue by using proven methods that the Dutch have been using for a long time, and helping solve social inequality issues present from water intrusion in low-lying communities. Thank you.
Thank you.